Hello and welcome to our first full week of Health 402 Research Methods. In this brief video, I am going to be going over what we will be covering this week in class. So to access our module for the week, I'm on the home page. You can click on this week one link right here and it will take you to the module. Alternatively, you can also click the modules link on that side, but I'm going to click on this link here. It will take me to the week one module. So last week, you got familiar with the class format, the policies of the course, what the course looks like. This week, we're going to actually get into what research is. So we're going to get kind of a general overview of what research is, particularly in public health. What are those steps in terms of research and conducting a literature review? So to get started, you can click on this week one overview page and it will take you to a page that has an overview of what you should be expecting for the course for this week. So in this module, again, we're going to basically talk about what research is. For your lab component, we're going to talk about how to conduct a literature review and how to actually review the literature, find articles. You are going to actually be searching different databases for articles that are relevant to your research question. So by the end of this week, after you've completed all of the lecture materials as well as the lab, you should be able to describe research in the public health context, describe the importance of research in public health, identify the 9 steps in the research process, and then lastly, conduct a literature review search using a variety of search parameters. We will cover that specifically in our lab for this week. So this week, you've got a module to complete, and you've also got some reading in your textbook. So I'll go back to the module in a second, but make sure you read chapter 1 in your textbook as long as you complete all of the material that's in the module for this week as well. So I'm back at the week 1 module. We were just on this overview page, but what you can see is that for each week, including this week, you're going to have different pages that you'll go through. So you can, on that overview page, you can click the arrow at the bottom, it will take you to the next page, but you've got all of the material in these different pages that you will go through. There's text that you'll need to read. There's also some videos to watch. So make sure to very thoroughly go through all of those. That will make up the lecture component of this course. You will need to complete all of the module content before you attempt to take the quiz. So the quiz will cover all of the material, so make sure you've completed the entire module before you sit down and you take that quiz. You'll also notice that at the end of the module material for the lecture, you're going to have your lab assignment. So your lab assignment information, whether you're in the Monday lab or the Friday lab, you'll go to the same place to find that lab information. And so you can click this and it will take you to the page for the lab. This is where you will actually submit your lab online. Typically you'll work in groups, but for your first lab, it's actually going to be an individual assignment. I will print out and provide the actual lab instructions in lab, but feel free if you want to, before you come to lab, you're welcome to take a look at that lab page. You'll also notice that your quiz is right here as well, so you can locate the quiz and the discussion at the end of the module. Again, please make sure you've completed all of the readings, everything before you sit down and take that quiz. And then you've also got your discussion. So your first discussion, if you click here, it will take you to your first discussion post. So this post is really an introduction to the class. Your first post is due on Thursday by 11:55, and then you need to reply to a classmate by Sunday at 11:55. So this first one, your first post that's due on on Thursday, you just want to introduce yourself to the class. So tell me your name, your year in school, where you're from, what are your goals for this course? So list at least one goal, and then what's your experience with public health research? So maybe you've worked with a faculty member before, you've done an independent study and you got to be a part of the research process, or maybe you haven't had that opportunity yet, but you've learned about research in other classes. So I want to hear a little bit about your experience in terms of public health research, and then share something about yourself that is maybe your favorite hobby, maybe a TV show, something like that. So if I were to make my post, I would say, my name is Adrian. I am not in school, but I'm assistant professor. I'm from Los Angeles, California. My goals for this course is that everybody understands all of the material that we cover. My experience with public health research, I've done a lot of research, particularly in the area of health policy and healthcare systems, specifically understanding access to care. I've worked with national data and as well as some local data. Something about myself, I love to run. So often when I'm not working, I am outside somewhere in SLO County going for a run. And then by Sunday, you need to reply to a classmate's post. So identify one thing that you have in common with your classmate. So maybe I find someone who is also from Los Angeles, and I might say, I'm also from Los Angeles, California. And then identify one difference in your post and your classmate's post. One last thing for this week, before you come to lab, please make sure that you read the instructions for the literature review assignment and the research proposal. During your lab, you're going to actually search databases and find published articles, and those are going to support your research question. So I want you to start thinking about what a potential research question might be for these papers. So look at the instructions and then think about what's something you might be interested in, but it's helpful if you come to lab and you've already reviewed those assignments and you have an idea of what the instructions are for the quarter for those. I would also say for this lab, it's really helpful if you watch this video on this module page in terms of finding articles. So make sure you go through the module and you understand what an actual peer-reviewed paper is. You're going to want to look at the videos in the module that go over how to find articles, so different terms that you're going to be using. We'll cover that a little bit more in lab, but it is helpful if you've looked through some of this before you come to lab. And for the lab, it is my expectation that you actually finish the lab during the lab period. So hopefully you will all do that and you don't have to take it home after and worry about it. My goal is for all of you to finish those labs during your scheduled lab period. So that's the plan for this week. You've got your module that you'll need to complete on an introduction to research. You've also got that chapter to read in your textbook, chapter 1. You've got your lab that you will attend either on the Monday or the Friday lab. And then you've also got your discussion posts. Your first one is due Thursday, your reply is due Sunday. And then you also have a short quiz that you're going to take. That quiz is really short. It's like 10 minutes, 10 questions, but please make sure you've completed all the module material before you sit down to take that quiz. I look forward to seeing all of you during our first lab this week. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, send me an email, or come to my office hours.